3, hit it!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And today, I want to explore something that has just been very helpful to me personally. And hopefully, it will be helpful to you because it's made my life considerably easier. And I'm pretty sure the reason it's made my life so much easier is because it's given me back so much bandwidth. You may have listened to some of my productivity podcasts where I've talked about bandwidth as a sort of a critical variable in our level of productivity. When we have too much on our mind, it's really difficult to be creative or effective. When we have relatively little on our mind, surprisingly, we're able to do much more quickly. We're able to get much more juice to the squeeze. And the thing that has taken a lot off my mind over the years was when I stopped trying to be somebody. Now, most of my life, and I don't know if you're the same, if you can't identify with that, if that's not meaningful to you, fair enough. But for me, most of my life was spent trying to be somebody. Not necessarily even somebody important, just somebody better than me, somebody more interesting than I was, someone more fun than I was, someone less insecure than I was, someone more confident than I was, somebody more, and sometimes it would even get weird because like I wanted to be more assertive but less of a jerk, and I wanted to be kinder but less of a wimp, and I had all these things that I thought it would be better if I was different, and that took up a huge amount of my time, but it was so part of the furniture that I didn't even notice it. And if I did notice it, I thought it was good. Yeah, of course I want to be better. Like, isn't that what we should all strive to be better? Now, when that all began to change for me was when I was listening to a Syd Banks audio, Scottish mystic Syd Banks. And there was a recording called The Missing Link. He's got a book called The Missing Link. It's quite different, but there was a recording called The Missing Link. And what I heard him say was, if you drop your ego, your image of self-importance, and just be you, just you, whoever you are, you'll find the secret to heaven here on earth. You'll discover that you're not who you think you are. You're something nicer, far better, really nice. And it hit me, and at first I didn't know why it hit me so hard. And then I realized that for me it was because I had always equated ego with arrogance. And it was one of the worst sins that you could have in my world, was arrogance. I had never considered ego to just be another word for self-image, image of self. How do I think of myself? How do I want to think of myself? How do I try to make sure I don't think of myself? How do I want other people to think of me? How do I not want them to think of me? And that in fact, the thing that in Syd's language obscures the kingdom of heaven, makes life seem hard and a struggle, is that we're trying to be somebody. We're trying to feed an image, improve upon an image, live up to an image of self-importance, an image of self, a self-image. And we don't have to. And in fact, when we drop our ego, when we drop all our thinking about who we should be and who we want to be and who we ought to be and who we wish we were, and blah, 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 when that stops looking important, when that starts looking like the television showing the home shopping network in the corner that's just on and you're doing something else, it's like on in the doctor's office. When it stops seeming like something you have to do anything about and just starts sounding like noise in your head, what you're left with is you as you are. And if you think that sounds horrible, you have not met you. You've met your self-image. You've met the version of you who's always trying, who's always striving, who's always wishing they were better, they were different. I have not met a single human being who has met themselves, who isn't a little bit in awe of themselves, who isn't just a little bit in love with themselves. I watched a documentary recently about Eddie Murphy called Being Eddie. And in the middle of the documentary, he's being asked about how he had such a long career with relatively little mess, and he talks about a lot of his friends that he's buried over the years from drugs or alcohol or just, abusing their bodies and their lives. And he said, yeah, it was never really going to happen with me because I love myself. It was a very casual comment. It was a very un-LA. He kept joking about how he sounded like he's from LA and he's very New York. But it was just true. He wasn't, I don't think for a minute that he never once was trying to be anybody. But his life wasn't about proving something about himself. It wasn't about becoming something or someone. It was about being Eddie. And when your life is just about being you, not becoming anything, it's like the difference between being always halfway up an infinite ladder, because you notice you never actually become the person you want to be. You're always almost there, a little bit closer, halfway up the infinite ladder, and just rolling downhill, just enjoying the flow of life, just being on the river and seeing where it takes you today. So if you want to experience that for yourself, it's really simple. The second you see that you are not your self-image and you don't even need a self-image, you can just be who you are as you are. And when you spend some time being who you are as you are, I don't know if you'll find the secret to heaven here on earth, but I promise you, you will have found a much, much easier way to live. And if you want to explore that further with me, I encourage you to join us on one of our programs. And you can find all our programs at michaelneill.org. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk with you soon.